And here we are, Jose.
Yes, sir.
Jose Jones. Yeah, no, like you're saying, I wish I did speak Spanish. I tried. Um,
How many years you? I know you. I remember you mentioned something that you went to school for like a couple of years, right? In high school.
I studied it in high school a little bit, and then I did Rosetta Stone.
Oh,
I did it religiously, but only like 3 months. That's not enough. That's not enough. Like to learn a language, you have to immerse yourself
oh
into
yeah.
it.
Or yeah, but you know a lot of people now, so I'm telling you, you just got to make the trip.
Yeah, I have no excuse. I need to quit
That's
making
right. That's
excuses.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's your first language, right?
Yeah,
S-
yeah. I speak. Yeah, Spanish is my first one. I know a little bit of Portuguese.
Yeah.
Well, but nothing crazy. Well, Spanish. English. Man, I don't know what to tell you, but English is being that one of the hardest language in.
That's what everybody
Yeah,
says. It's
yeah,
just the
yeah.
hardest language. There's
So many things, man. I
hmm
feel like when everything that you guys use so many words that it's like sometimes in my head it's like everything is up with you guys.
yeah.
Turn up, show up, light up, turn down, so you get confused because you're like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah, because one word can have so many meanings.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's very confusing.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, but you've I mean, I feel like you speak it very well. Like you've completely
Yeah,
I
I mean,
feel like it's easier to learn that like English after you've learned I feel like I guess I feel like it's easier to learn languages when English isn't your first language.
yeah,
I guess is the way I want to say it
yeah,
because, like, so the love languages. So you have like there a lot of those are what Latin derived. You
yeah.
have like French, Italian,
hmm
Spanish. I know there's a couple other I'm forgetting, but those are all pretty similar. So I would
Yeah.
imagine it's easier to learn those
hmm
than it would be English.
Yeah, yeah. For example, like French and Spanish, they say it's a huge relation. Like I got a lot of friends from France that it's easier for them to learn Spanish than from me learn French.
Right.
Because there's a lot of similarities when
hmm
it comes to the French and the Spanish language. Same thing with Italian.
Right.
So yeah, so those three, I would say that those three are ones that definitely can. There's a lot of relation on those words, and the Portuguese, of course.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. One day. I need to quit just saying one day. I just need to make it today and
that's
just
right. You
start
see,
start learning,
here you go,
man.
mi casa to casa, brother.
So let's jump into uh tell the folks a little bit about just kind of your background, who you are. So you're from Panama. Let's start there. Like what brought you to the States?
Well, the main thing that brought me to the States was that I always wanted to, since I was a little kid, I always wanted to you're watching all these movies, watching all these wrestlers, NBA basketball players. I always wanted to be a basketball player. That was my main thing. That's what I came here to Linden with a basketball
Oh,
scholarship.
really?
Yeah, a lot of people they don't know that, but that was my main thing. It's kind of like I grew up in Panama. All my friends they were going to the Panama high schools and everything, and well, remember the Americans they were back in Panama taking care of the canal. So I got some friends that they were from here,
Okay.
or they were studying in Panama because the United States has like they have back then. Well, still they have like a high school, but it was only for Americans.
Oh,
So my
okay.
neighborhood, I got a few friends that they were from here. Their parents they were working in Panama, so I was always when I was a little kid, I was always watching them. They were going to school with just regular clothes. And all the schools in Panama, no matter that's what a lot of people they don't know. All the schools in Panama, no matter where you at, you have to wear a uniform,
Oh, really?
public or private. Yeah.
Oh.
So that was one of them. Since I was a little kid, I was watching my friend Jaime. He was wearing like just hat, regular clothes, shoes, tennis shoes, and I'm like, wow, why? What I need to do
Yeah.
to be like Jaime? Yeah, his name was Jamie, whatever.
But you guys call them
Yeah, we
Jaime.
call it James. We switch everything. But you see what I'm saying? All those, and I'm sharing with you things that when I was a little kid, that I was like, wow, what is this? And then I find out, well, that's United States.
hmm
That's the culture. That's the way it is. And I start, I fall in love with that. And
hmm
I start, of course, you will start watching some movies. You guys will have soap operas, that we watch in Panama, but you know what I mean, like movies and things like that. And I said, this will be one of my main things. I would like to study there,
Okay.
at least college. And the crazy thing is, like, if you are from Panama and you want to study you can. You are from Panama, you can go to to the United States high school, or like it's called Balboa High School. That's the name of the high school. You can go to that Balboa High School, but then you have to pay, oh, too much money. It was
Uh,
like $20,000. I remember back then
Oh,
for like a year.
so it's like a private school, almost like a college though,
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
charge, like what they're
But for you
charging.
guys, it's free.
Okay.
But for us, if any Panamanian wanted to, I mean, that was my understanding. I don't know. Probably my dad was lying to me. I
He's
don't
like, hey,
know.
listen, it's
Yeah.
$20,000, kids.
Yeah. So, but in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and, apply when I grow up. I'm gonna go ahead and apply. I hopefully get on a scholarship so I can come to the States. And
Okay.
that was my main goal.
Oh, so your first exposure was just kind of observing the kids, and then
Yeah.
and then you kind of took to like just like the whole entertainment portion of it, and just I guess you hear that a lot. You see it on TV, the movies, the shows,
Yeah.
and a lot of people learn American
Yeah.
culture through TV. From what I've learned.
Mhm.
So were you like a big? I mean, you were just all into like the NBA. Like, who's your guy?
Oh man, Michael
Michael?
back then was the man. Michael, and
Gosh.
I watched a lot of what was it? WWE.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Stone Cold and The Rock. I mean,
Back when it
that
was
was
still WCW,
yeah,
WWF.
yeah. Yeah, back then was WWF. So that was some of the things that I'm like, I need to go.
Yeah.
Plus, my dad used to own a club in Panama. This was something big too. My dad used to own a club, a radio stations in Panama,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to. Yeah, I was partying too hard, man. Like
Oh,
my
okay.
senior year, my dad was like, "What? I got people coming in with me, 25 people, 30 people, grown ass man coming, knocking on my door at my mama's house. Oh, can I go? Can I speak to Jose? I got a big brother.
Uh-huh.
Well, those guys, they were asking for me because they know they knew that I was a guy that I was, letting them get in for free.
Oh, okay.
Hooking them up with
Yeah.
anything they wanted to. But anyhow, my dad, well, like I said, all those things, I feel like my dad was like, you know what, this guy he wants out. He wants to start in the United States. He just like, being clowning here, and we need to get rid of him
Yeah.
in a good way. And I said, we found a college. Actually, his friend, one of his best friend, his partner, my dad he had some investment in a gas station, and I remember that back then his friend's daughter was a Lindenwood. So that was one of the main things that he said. He asked his friend, where, what's the name of the college that your daughter goes to, and then his friend was like, my daughter goes to Lindenwood. I can hook you up with somebody in Panama that knows the whole process, and that's how it started. And my dad was
Oh.
actually he was happy. He's like, you know what, this is something that he been asking me to to start in the United States for so many years. Right now he's not doing anything. That was like I was right out of high school. I was 6 months in Panama doing nothing.
Yeah.
He feels like the money's right. Let me go ahead and send him to Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. So that's why that's how I am here.
Yeah, man. You ended up in a very I don't know. I almost just want to say a very strange place in
Oh,
the
yeah,
country. You know what I mean? To
absolutely.
come from out of nowhere just
Yeah,
to be right in the
in the middle,
Midwest.
man. You know what? But you see, and that's something that I still struggle when it comes to like diversity and everything. I feel like all the years that I've been here, I've been surrounded with, that with a diversity population of friends and that community, and I don't really like I'm a person that I kind of like talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's all in your mind. Like if and I get I get where you're coming from, but in my experience, it's just like I've been fortunate to be around everybody, and I feel like I appreciate every culture in a way that I'm like, I know there's not a lot of diversity, but I can call people and make that diversity club, and
Right. Yeah.
because you have to take advantage of the opportunities and the things that you have surrounded, and I feel like me working at Lindenwood, being at Lindenwood for so many years, there's a lot of people that stays here, and actually for the past, I would say 5 6 years, it's like it's me coming out of that shell.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to connect with people from here, people that what they want to learn about me, because there's a lot of people that I'll be honest, at the beginning it was hard.
I bet
People
it was.
people say, "What part of Mexico you from?" "Oh, you speak good Mexican." And I went back to them. I said, "You speak very good Canadian," and stuff like that. Those are the type of things that you that. But don't get me wrong. I understand. I know that there's a lot of people that the mind, they don't know. But he's just instead of me getting, I used to get mad, man. I used to go, I used to go beast mode on those people. Like, what? I
Yeah.
got people telling me like, "Oh, you from Panama? Panama? What they?" Yeah, I got this guy telling me that. Oh, I remember Panama. All the MacGyver episodes they were filming Panama. I'm like, MacGyver. And I seen MacGyver myself before, and I
Yeah.
know that was like
Is
a
that even true?
no,
No,
but I'm saying, well,
he's
these
just
guys were
talking
making up
shit.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And this guy made me go back to YouTube and start looking for some MacGyver episodes, and it was like a shithole place that I don't even know where MacGyver was, and that's why he tried to compare, where I'm from,
Panama.
yeah, Panama
Yeah.
to that.
Oh,
But
so disrespectful.
but like I said, well, I use, I take that as a, you know what, he doesn't know,
Hmm.
but let me educate them in a way that enroll them in my culture, and this is who I am. Panama is this. I speak Spanish. I don't eat taco. I eat, so instead of like me getting mad or whatever, I just say, what, he just need to know, and
Yeah.
I take the time and I sit down and I tell him, hey, this is where I'm from.
Right. Well, I think definitely the positive there is you can definitely treat all of those instances as like opportunities to connect with somebody and to
Absolutely.
teach them.
Yep.
So that's important. And then, from my understanding, I remember like my freshman year there was like they tried to like tote the statistic about Lindenwood just to make it seem better than
Yep.
like Mizzou because that's
Mhm.
pretty big competition.
Yeah.
But they had a greater like international population
Yeah.
of
Huge.
students than even Mizzou,
Yep.
and it's not a big college, so I
No.
imagine that probably helped the process, maybe a little bit.
Yep.
But what was the culture like the culture shock like coming here? Or I guess a better way to ask it, so you had this idea
Mhm.
of like America and like
Mhm.
how people acted, and I imagine that even influenced the way you acted.
Yeah.
So what was the difference like once you actually got here?
Well,
Did it meet expectations? Like, did you find out that people didn't necessarily act the way you thought they acted, or like what were the differences? Like, what were you know what I mean? What kind of things kind of stuck out for you?
no. Well, I would say that for me, it talks out the how people they are, the separation. You know what I mean? That like, I don't. I feel like in Panama, here, when I went to Lindenwood, I remember my first year. I got caught up in the middle of like, I'm Hispanic,
Hmm.
but I'm black. You know what I mean? Like I consider myself black, Hispanic.
Yeah,
But here it was like, for me, it was like I would say it was a struggle in a little bit finding who I belong to. If I belong to, because even the Hispanic people, they were like, I was the only black Hispanic. There's not too many black Hispanic here in Lindenwood. Period.
yeah,
And then I can see when as soon as I walk into the cafeteria, I can see that there were like the black athletes,
hmm,
and there were the white athletes, or there were the white people here, black people here, Hispanic people there.
yeah,
So it wasn't like it. And for me, it was like, wow, I get to choose. I get to choose who can I sit
yeah,
next to it.
yeah,
And that for me was shocking. In Panama, I feel like we have a culture that everybody just
yeah. It's just all love. Everybody's everybody.
everybody's mixed. Everybody's so mixed with each other. Even though, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like there is discrimination, racism. That's everywhere. But
Yeah,
but there, I don't know. I feel like there in Panama, it's more like I don't know. Here is more like quiet. It could be more quietly or
oh
more
yeah, a
more
little,
secret or more. But
yeah,
it's more. I don't know. It's more evil. I would say that it could be more evil. In Panama, they tell you straight up. You can't say we don't like you. We don't like you.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm used to that because that's 18 years of my life. That's what I heard that and I seen it, and you get used to that. But here it was more like here it was like, well, we cannot sit with Jose because okay, we can sit with Jose because he's Hispanic,
yeah, yeah,
but I'm like, well, I'm black too. What's going, And I can see everything was for me was very. I was in shock when it comes to that. I feel like, I can see that there was like a segregation and there was like a resentment from both parties of like, no, we don't. I mean, even if I want to, my parents they don't want to. They don't want me to be associated with you or this and that.
yeah.
And I'm like, for me, it was like, okay, I need to be careful who I definitely talk to or who I associate myself with.
Right, yeah, just because you don't really know what's influencing them or what their
Yeah.
motivators are, what the case may be. Hey, do me a favor, we fix that cord. It's like it's rubbing up against the mic. Here, I'll help you. just so that way. There, perfect.
Yeah, thank you, champ. Thank you, champ.
Yeah, I'm sure that that'll annoy the listeners. They just like kind of rub
Yeah.
every now and then. But yeah, so you're here and you're trying to find a tribe, which I mean, community is so important. You know what I mean? Like we're all searching for a
Hmm.
community in some way or another. Yeah, I can definitely see why that would be challenging. I know, like me growing up, the number one question I get asked, like I don't have an accent or anything
Yeah.
like that, but like the number one question I always get asked is like, "What am I?"
Yeah.
Like why I don't know why it's the most important like thing to people, but it's like, and the guesses are always they're all over the place. It's like
They say you look Hispanic.
I
Yeah.
get Hispanic a lot, but I've also gotten like Middle
Yeah.
Eastern. I've gotten Islander before as well. Very rarely do people ever guess that like I'm just mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, in essence, we're all just mixed. You know, it's just whether or not we have more melanin or not. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's such a crazy thing how we as humans like always search for like this just this external thing
Yeah.
to link us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. I feel like it's always like when it comes to like a label or
It's
it
very
comes down to
superficial.
it comes down to the perception, and if they don't have a word for that, they are like, oh Lord, we never seen anything like
Yeah.
that. He has to be, you know,
Hmm.
he has to be labeled by something.
Yeah, and then people they'll react to fear. People what they don't understand they fear, and then usually that turns into some negative animosity. So that could definitely dictate the situation. But
Yeah, yeah, I agree, champ.
yeah, well, shit, man. So you came here for basketball.
Yeah,
Did you also box at home too?
yeah. I started boxing. You see, that's the thing. I started boxing since I was 12, 13, back home. My dad used to be a boxer, and then well, he boxed an amateur. My cousin, he boxes too. He actually went professional. Actually, did pretty good. He won the one of the WBO,
Okay,
a belts and everything.
it's World Boxing Organization, right?
Yeah, and he's still at it. He's in Russia right now. Sparring bunch of guys and everything. But the thing with me was that boxing in Panama is always he has that label, he has a stigma that only the people from the hood can do it.
Oh,
The poor,
really?
yeah, and the poor people. It's a poor, in Panama. Unfortunately, is labeled as a sport that only people from the hood can do it. People from the ghetto, people that they don't have no dreams. It's not like here. Things has changed. Don't get me wrong. I'm telling you about when I was back
Mm-hmm.
then, but it was like that. It was more like you don't have you don't have school, or if you don't have you don't do anything else, all day. Then you go to the boxing gym and
And you fight.
you get beat up, and you know. So I grew up, that's why my parents, and especially my mom, was some of the things that she talked to me, and she's like, no, there's no way you're gonna box. I always like love boxing. I feel like I wanted to prove a point to my dad that I was like, you know how it goes. I was like 11, 9. I was like, I want to be like you, better than you,
Yeah.
and blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. So he paid for me some private classes for like a couple years. But then, yeah, I ended up quitting because I feel like because of all my friends and especially my family. My mom was like, "No, you don't. What are you doing? This
Really?
is a sport that nobody likes."
Yeah. It's like this is what poor people do.
Yeah, yep, yep,
Oh
yep, yep,
wow, that's fascinating.
yep.
There are definitely those sports like that, right?
Mm.
That really and boxing's been one even in America where it's always been like the really like lower class, like really hardworking, struggling people tend to be like the best
Yep.
fighters, and they take that path in the fight, like the sport of fighting in particular, like that's how they seek like glory and respect and all those great accolades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, gosh, how many great fighters come from Panama? Like a ton.
No, yeah, we have plenty of fighters, but again, the story, the background is the same.
Yeah.
You come in like Roberto Duran. He's the guy that I believe he only went to sixth grade.
Oh,
He
really?
didn't go to no middle school, no high school, no nothing. Like you seen guys that's why he has that. Don't get me wrong. You see, that's why all this reputation of boxers that are from Panama that they are made it and they became champions is because they came from nothing.
Oh.
But you see, and I don't recall seeing a boxer until this date from Panama that has been, well, that live in Panama, been going to school, come from like a middle class or high class family or whatever. I made it. No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never really thought about that or even looked into, what are the like the social, like economic, like divide between boxers and like
Yeah.
who makes it. Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And they, like, for example, here, that's what I'm like here when I did my career here and everything. But for me, here was like, I remember Ryan Cohen, my friend Ryan. I started playing football at Lindenwood. You see, that's the thing with me and basketball. Things didn't go right.
Oh, it didn't?
I applied, I did my tryout at Lindenwood, and oh my lord, so many big guys, man. I was like, I was one of the smallest guy in the court, but they were like, no, we need. Everybody was like, 6'5", 6'7", 7. I'm like,
Big
whoa.
dudes.
So I quit right, automatically myself. I was like, you know what, I cannot do this. But then I was walking around campus, and I was, back then I was like 220 maybe, and I lifting a lot of weight. That's all I did. And I remember that coach, what's the name? Coach Gorosinski. He was Lindenwood. The football Lindenwood team was so bad that he actually asked me. He said, "Hey, you want to play football?" And I said, "Okay." And that's how I started playing football now. In instead American football, like it was crazy because no English. I came here with little English. Like I'm telling you, when I say little, it's like it was more like a ketchup
Oh yeah.
and yeah, hi bye and stuff like that. When he said football, when the football coach said football, I was thinking about soccer.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm gonna go ahead and play soccer. Yeah, I played soccer before in Panama too. But no, it was American football. When we went to the meeting, it was a bunch of guys with shoulder pads and pads. And I'm
Way
like,
different
what? I'm
sport.
like, what is this? It was ridiculous, man. That's why I got the nickname Salsa because it's crazy because they asked me why they wanted to play, and I say, well, in my eyes, I'm like, well, I could be one of the fastest guy here in the team. But yeah, right. And then, oh my lord, they put me as a free safety
Oh really?
as a DB, and oh lord, that was ridiculous because when I started backpedaling, I started doing some salsa movement. I don't know where that came from, but anyhow, I love it, man, because it was very hard. Everything was hard. But I say, I'm the type of guy that I say, I'm not gonna quit because I know that this is not my sport. I love contact. Don't you see? That's why I'm like I was defense. I was playing defense. I love the contact, but I feel like I told myself I'm like I'm not gonna be an NFL player. I know that, but I know that I can make the practice hell for you,
Hmm.
for anybody. I played with Didi Dorsey. He was one of the first guys that went to the NFL. I played with a lot of guys that they definitely I can see them like man, and all I can say to myself was that I wish I could have, I wish I could have learned this in
Yeah.
a little, just give me at least a year.
You
You
need a
know what I
little bit,
mean?
yeah, just have a little bit of time to pick it
Yeah,
because you jumped right in college. They had a
yeah.
pretty decent
Oh,
squad. I mean,
I
um,
never I never played varsity. To me, was like I was only JV.
yeah.
I was playing the JV team. I actually made some tackles. You see, I was moved from DV to to a linebacker because they were like, I'm like, boy, you too big, you too damn big to start playing
DB.
no DV. You got to be so I play one of those the invert,
Yeah.
invert linebacker. I was just in the inside, and then it was good. Like I say, I knew I wasn't gonna go anywhere, but then that's why one of the guys that was in the football squad told me, hey, you know what? I'm going boxing later. I'm like boxing. Yeah, it's a boxing gym here down the street. It's free. Free? I'm like, what? Why not?
Say no more.
Oh my, say no more. And then that's it. That it was over. I start boxing, and since that my first year at Lindenwood.
What year was that?
That was I would say 2003. Let's put it after a year, 2003.
2003.
I started going to the gym, and yeah, it was definitely something that I connect with right away because I liked it. I told myself I'm like I don't have any I don't have mom. There's no mom. There's no grandpa, grandma. There's no family here.
None of that
I can
influence.
do anything I want,
Yeah.
and that's what I kind of like started to know. Hey, but at the end of the day, you see when you asked me about that cultural shock, everything was in place in my head when I came here. I was here by myself. I'm like, you know what? It's nothing. You see, it was so strange, and people were different, and I'm like, I'm still trying to find out who I belong with. What kind of group I am, or what is this.
Right.
So I feel like boxing was one of the sports, or one of the things that definitely helped me Like, you know what? You don't have to go be out there struggling to find out your identity.
Yeah.
You can just come here and, free your mind and, feel better.
Yeah, so that was that. I mean, that was that thing that like grounded you and like and it kind of presented you like that foundation to build from
Yeah,
because that's a hell of a time to be coming to America. I mean, you don't know who you are at that age. Like you're still learning about
yeah.
yourself. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then you just add the whole situation of not necessarily even like some people they move away to college and they just go to a different city or a different
Yeah.
a different state. Like you went to a whole different fucking country. You know what I mean? So that's just a whole lot of input to try to sort through. You know what I
Yeah,
mean as you're coming up. But you're a hell of a boxer.
yeah,
So that's always a good thing, and you're incorporating the boxing into your therapy.
yeah,
So, um, before we talk about that, let's first talk about like what you're doing now with, because you're a counselor, right?
yeah.
And therapist. So let's
Hmm.
talk about that. Like talk about like your education some, and then like what you're doing
Yeah,
with therapy and your philosophy and whatnot.
yeah, absolutely. I start. My first degree was in when I got done with Lindenwood. I finished with my first degree was in mass communications with business,
Okay.
and then I was blessed with the opportunity of work at Lindenwood for for to do my work. After you're international, when you apply after you graduate, you get a 1 year. It's called OPT. It's like it's kind of like a training, but you get paid. It's kind of like a job, right?
Okay.
So Linda will say, you know what, we can help this guy. This guy can definitely work with us, help with the international community in the business office in charge of collection. And I said, you know what, why not? So I stay there, I apply, and then I also apply for a work visa. And I'm sharing this with you because I once you graduate from any university in the United States, you get to work for like 6 years. You get a visa to work for like 6 years if the company try to help you out. It sponsor you.
Okay.
So that's what Lindenwood did for me. So when Lindenwood did that for me, for we signed a contract for 6 years or whatever. I said, you know what, I'm working at Lindenwood. I know that tuition is free, so I started taking masters. I ended up taking three masters. I got my first master's in business,
Okay.
international business, and then my second master was in school counseling. Then just talking to friends, they were like, Jose, you can be a school, you can be you great with kids and all that, but why not be apply for also a professional counselor, work with adults. You have your own office. You can be a school counselor during the day, and then at night you have your own private practice. You got people coming in and talk to you about their problems. I'm like, well, that sounds, money.
Yeah.
He says it makes sense.
Yeah,
And
that
I
makes
said, you know
sense.
what, let's go. I start doing some numbers. I'm like, well, I'm down with that.
And all that schooling's free.
Yeah, yes.
That's amazing.
And then I did that. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead. And everything was, at the same time fighting. Fighting. I'm thinking about, well, I got to train for Golden Glove. I got to train for my next fight. I got to train for, out of town tournaments and everything but I can see that connection right there since I started taking all those masters with boxing. I feel like boxing was one of the things that kept me going, he was telling me, hey, Jose, you cannot lose this opportunity because, I know they're giving you school for free. Well, who knows? Things can change. Or who knows, you got 6 years, but, you can get anything can happen anytime. So you got to take advantage of that. I started getting paid. I don't even know $25,000 the first year I started working there. So I remember that in my head, I'm like, I got to do what I got to do. Let,
Right.
let me add one master's. One master back then was $20,000, and in my head, I was thinking instead of getting paid 20, 25, I was getting paid 45, 50.
Right.
And that's how I walked. I walk around thinking, hey, I'm the $50,000 man coming out of Lindenwood by only 22 years old. So that for me was huge, having that mentality of like taking advantage of that. So yeah, so I did that in 2011, 2000, no, 2012. I finished with my degree of counseling, and then you have to go into a 2 year for professional counseling. You have to work 2 year under somebody and apply and work 3,000 hours to get your license as a professional counselor.
Okay.
So I did that. So while doing that too, I applied for my doctorate at Lindenwood. That was in 2015, I believe. I applied for my doctorate because Lindenwood, they offered me I think it was like a 60, yeah, 50, 60% They don't give you the, yeah, the doctorate. They don't give it to you
They
for
don't give you
free.
that.
Well, they make you pay 50% at least. And I'm like, wow, you know what? I take it because I knew that I wasn't going to work for Lindenwood for a long time.
Hmm.
So, a matter of fact, this was in 2014. I'm sorry. So I started taking classes for my doctorate, and you see, I'm almost done. I'm done with all my classes now. Next month, I get to, I create my dissertation,
Okay.
so I get to defend my dissertation in front of my board members and in front of whoever shows up. And in December, I get to go to the ceremony. So
Oh, that's awesome,
yeah,
brother.
absolutely, man. I'm done with
Hell
that
yeah.
because this is something that, and I feel like this is something that can definitely take us to what happened to me in Panama. I wanted to, this was something I wanted to finish.
Hmm.
And when I was in Panama, that was one of the big things that I was. But I'm gonna let you introduce us to that in a minute.
Just segue to that here in a minute. I
Yeah,
mean, we can. I mean, we can do it now. We can come back to the boxing
yeah,
and because it's just naturally flowing. So,
yeah,
what you're referring to is you visited home,
yeah.
right? It was just for a visit, right?
No, actually,
Why did you go home? Yeah.
no, I didn't go. See, the crazy thing is, like, I didn't go home.
Oh, you didn't. So take me through the whole situation
No, the whole
then.
situation about me, getting stuck in Panama. It was I went to Belgium. My sister's wedding. My sister got married in Belgium in 2000, yeah, 2016, and I remember I went there for a week. So when I came back after a week, I we stopped in Chicago, and then the CB. What's the name of those officers? Those officers that work in the work inside of the
The
airport.
TSA officers or the
CBP control. They have a name, but anyhow, yeah,
oh yeah, I don't know it, but
yeah. I forgot the name completely, but anyhow, that person asked me if I they looked you up in the computer. The crazy thing is like they were stopping anybody any black person coming from Europe was getting interview, and they were I can see that they were giving them a hard time, especially.
really,
But the crazy thing is like the day before, I remember because I was in London and I was reading the newspaper. There was a terrorist attack. There was a terrorism attack in London, so I'm pretty sure they were going hard when it comes to like any flights coming from, and I was coming from London.
yeah. So anybody who looked like you,
Yeah. Or yeah, anybody, yeah,
looked like
like,
us,
well, yeah,
rather,
oh, yeah, you're right. But anybody coming from London specifically too, because
just anybody from London there.
yeah, I
Okay.
can see that they were like going hard on anybody. And I remember that they asked me, well, Jose, did you they looked me up and they said, do you how many what are you doing here? I'm like, well, I live here. I just came back, I went to Belgium for a week, and now I'm returning to finish my doctorate. And they said, well, let me look you up more. They told me to have a seat. When they tell you to have a seat, that means like something's going on.
Like you already know at
Yeah,
that point.
I'm like, oh my Lord. I remember it's crazy because the next day I had to pick up my daughter. It was her birthday. We had to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I don't even know what I got something planned for her. And then they called me after half an hour. They say, oh, did you were you a professional boxer? I'm like, yeah, I retired. I don't fight no more. And that was like that was my last fight. That was like 2 months after my last fight. My last fight was in April or something, and this was May.
Did we fight on that same card? I don't know. We didn't. I know we fought on a card together, and you knocked the dude flat out.
I know, no, you
I
fought.
fought Daryl Cobb.
Oh no, that was after that one. Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
right. Yeah,
you
yeah.
knocked that dude
But I
flat
think
out.
you fight in the same. You didn't fight on the same. You probably fought on May. I don't know, or probably
That
you
was in
didn't.
February.
Ah, okay. So you didn't fight on the April one or something. All right.
No, that was so the April one was your last fight.
Yes,
Okay.
in the 2016.
Okay.
But anyhow, so the guy asked me. I said, yes, I'm a professional boxer. I retired now. I don't fight no more. And then he said, well, did you have a work permit for that? And I said, yeah, I have a boxing license. I had to apply for a boxing license in Missouri, and they gave it to me. And they were like, what about Lindenwood? I'm like, yeah, I used to work at Lindenwood. This is my work permit. I mean, I have a visa that I got that approved for 6 years, and I have everything with me. You want me to show it to you? He's like, no. Did you being a professional boxer? He said that you being a professional boxer, did you told immigration that you were gonna fight? I only did like five, 6 fights, and I say no. Did I supposed to tell immigration I was gonna fight? Because nobody told me that. He's like, well, yeah. You should have told immigration that you were going to fight because you international. And I'm like, yeah, but if I'm applying through the state of Missouri, the Missouri Board of Athletic,
Right.
commission, why I don't get it. Nobody, they should have told me. They should have told me. Somebody should have told me something.
Well, who's to say that you were intending to box when you applied for your visa? Who's to say that you didn't get your visa and then decide to apply to box?
Yeah,
And then you go through all the necessary steps.
yeah,
So why would you say that up front? Who's to say you did know?
yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No,
Keep
no,
going.
you're right, but you're right, but that's the thing. You see, and I'm you see, this guy is talking to me after like a 17, 16 hour flight.
Yeah, you're tired.
All I want is to go home, see my daughter, spend some time with her. Birthday party the next day.
How old is she at this time?
Well, back then, well, she was 8.
8.
So I'm thinking about, well, wait a minute. What? And the guy was like, well, man, um, there's a paper called voluntary withdrawal of application. You have to sign this, and this is nothing. This is basically a paper that you're telling us that you don't want to, you voluntarily don't want to enter the United States, but you can come back next week. I'm like, what? We just got to get a new visa, go to the embassy, the U.S. embassy in Panama, get a new visa, and then you should be able to be here. You can be here in next week. I promise. I seen this happen. I seen this happen before, but in my head, I'm like, no. If I go to Panama, this guy, Panama is hard to get a visa. It's like any other country. It's hard to get a visa, and I don't think that they will give it to me in a week.
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
sounds like crazy. And I said, can I talk to a lawyer or something? No, you don't get to talk to a lawyer. He said, listen, man, we have a long line. You don't sign this, then you're gonna be barred from the United States for 10 years.
What? It was either sign this.
Sign this. He basically signed. He even told me, "Did you are scared to go to Panama?" And I said, "Well, I haven't been in Panama in a long time, so I can say I will tell you yes, because I don't know too many. I don't know what's going on. My dad. He used to be a lawyer in Panama. You never know. So,
Y-
but in my head, I was just thinking about so many things. I'm like, what is going on? It was so many things. He even said to me, if you decided to, if you for some reason you cannot go to Panama, you can apply for something called asylum or something.
Asylum. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're gonna be here for like 8 months, 8 months, and I don't think you want that. Do you want that? Do
Where
you?
is here? You'll be here. He
He
said you'll be here.
he is stuck. He
Just
might when
stuck
he's
in the Chicago area.
yeah, when he said here, like you're right, he didn't say like, well, you're gonna be in a penitentiary or like a detention center. No, nothing. It was more like you get stuck here. It could be 6 months, 8 months until you get to talk to a judge, something like that. And I'm like, okay, miss, can I talk to your manager? And then he said, well, yes. So another lady came. I remember she was expecting a baby, and then she gave me the look. He already talked to you. I have nothing to do here. Either sign it or you gone.
Yeah, they have no sympathy
Yeah,
or
absolutely. But
empathy.
anyhow, I had to sign. I signed it. But then I'm like, are you sure I'm gonna be here next week? He's like, yes, you're gonna be here next week. And then, long story short, man, I went to Panama. I remember the same day, man. They put me in a little room. It was a little because I said, you know what? Let me. Can I? Where I'm gonna sleep at? He's like, don't worry, you're gonna sleep in the back. They're gonna put you in the back. In the back, they have a back room
Uh huh.
that's why they detain everybody.
How
So,
big is the room?
oh my lord, it was like, I think it's like here, yeah, maybe from the bike to where you at. He was just this big square.
Oh, that's
But
not
they
very big. I don't know.
no, no,
I'm not
yeah,
good
it wasn't
with
big. But the thing is, like he said,
dimensions.
don't worry, we're gonna wake you up because I was basically, they detained me. I was on detention basically there, and I say, um, I don't know. Yeah, the crazy thing was this. He's like, well, so you signed, right? I said, yeah, I signed the paper. So he said, well, you're going back to Belgium. I'm like, you're going back to Belgium? To London because I came from London.
Uh huh.
You need to go back to London. I'm like, no, I cannot go back to London because I don't have family there. I have my family in Belgium. My sister, she went for her honeymoon. Can I go to Panama, please? He's like, well, you go to Panama, you have 2 hours to buy your own ticket because you have to pay for your own ticket to go to Panama because we cannot. That way it is. It's like we send you to the country you came from. And I'm like, wow. At this moment, I'm like, well, now he's basically telling me that I gotta come. I didn't have. I didn't have $1,500, $2,000 on my credit card or anything.
Yeah.
And I had to come up with that because they were not going to pay for that. So I got to call some family members, and we were able to collect the money in less than 3 hours, I would say. And then the next day, I spent the night there. They say I was supposed to be there for. They said that it was only gonna be me by myself in that room. That was a lie.
How many people they put
Oh
in there
my
with you?
lord, that was crazy. Like 6, 7 Africans. Everybody was. I remember that it was. We were all on the floor. When I woke up, I couldn't sleep. But every time I wake up, every 5 minutes I wake up, I got somebody's feet on my, right in front of my nose because they were like everybody was.
Just crammed in the room. How
Yeah,
long were you in this room for?
it was like from maybe like from like 10, yeah, from like 9 p.m. until 8 the next day,
So
8:30.
just the whole night you were
Yeah,
in
and
there.
the room was locked.
It was
It
locked.
was
So
like,
what if you needed like use the restroom, or did they give you
yeah,
food or anything, or were they just worried that you guys were gonna like try to
yeah,
escape,
yeah, yeah.
for lack of a better term?
Yeah, yeah. So that's what it was, man. Like I said, but
Shit.
everything was more like a of course, security reasons and everything. But nobody told me anything. They were basically everybody that was there was somebody that they suspect that it was they didn't belong or they were gonna do something or
Yeah.
they had suspicious intentions to come to America. And I said, wow, okay, like I said, me. I'm a person that I say, well, he told me that I just need to go to the embassy and I should be fine. So the next day, crazy thing is like, yeah, I remember there were like two officers that came the next morning to get me. They said we have to escort you to the plane. I said, well, okay. So they escort me to the plane, and the crazy thing is like the flight attendant was my cousin.
Oh, for real? Oh, fuck.
I remember they gave when these things happens, they don't give you your passport. They give the passport to the flight attendants. So the flight attendant has to give it back to you when you land in your country.
So
All these type of things,
they treat you like a criminal
oh
from the
yeah, yeah.
get-go.
Yeah. Well,
Are they even treating you like a human being at all during this situation? You know what I mean? Like, are they even like being somewhat friendly to you?
no, well, no, I feel like everything, it's crazy now that everything is gone. It's crazy because when you in that moment, the only thing that I was in, like I said, this for me was like rock bottom. I feel like I was just I just wanted to do whatever. My last words that I got in my head was go to the embassy and do what you got to do. Of course, when I was inside, I remember I was knocking the door, kind of go to the bathroom. They were like, ignoring me. I'm like, hey, you.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I feel like this is just this is just the way I perceive things on that night. I was
Hmm.
tired. It was a long day.
Yeah.
So the next day, saw my cousin. She's like, I haven't seen you in more than 20 years. I'm like, you're right. How are you? Oh my lord, you look the same or whatever. So uh, have a seat. I'm like, so I sit down by myself. I'm like, well, I'm going home. I was able to collect the money, $1,500. That was a ticket or something. So the next day, I remember I went to Panama. I was in Panama on Saturday, man. Monday, I had a no Tuesday. I had an appointment in the embassy. So I went to the embassy with all my paperwork and everything. Hey, you know what? I only got one more class to finish. This is what it is. They say no, we cannot give you a visa because in the computer shows up that because the officer, I'm pretty sure the officer wrote down something. They have a note. The database is let everybody see it, and the database was something like, he works basically. He did some professional fights without permit, without telling immigration or something. But they just told me that do you work without authorization? And I'm like, no, I have my work permit. This is it. I have my boxing license. This is it. They were like, well, the embassy is something else, Adam. The embassy is something else. I don't, you can tell. You can ask a lot of people from different countries. There's so many embassies that people they are so rude. That they have a big old glass window, man. Every time they ask you, you there. For example, the person that is doing the interview is ask you things like, where you want to go? Well, I want to go to Disney World. See, you got my kids. I want to go see Disney World, Mickey Mouse, or whatever. They say no, you don't qualify. Go home. Go back to your country. Go back where you're coming from. You are not coming to the United States like that
Damn.
because I said so. And I seen that. I've been in the embassy so many times, and I hear so many some of them that they rude. They are
Yeah.
so rude. And the crazy thing is like, and that's what I tell all my friends in Panama because I feel like I'm not talking about everybody, but there's some people that the manners is not there. Maybe a little training, maybe so many, a little workshop or something can help, or I don't know. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people have the stigma of like labeling people from the United States that they're all the same. They're all rude because of course they go to the embassy and that's the only contact that they have
Yeah.
with an American person.
Yeah, that's a shame
You see what I'm
because
saying?
yeah, it's really weird because I don't know if it's just like those type of jobs make people super unhappy or if it's just unhappy people like to go to those jobs because it's like they get into no matter what level it is, like they get into some sort of like little position of power
Mhm.
and then like they just exert that to the fullest
Yeah.
to whoever they're like coming across. It's really weird like when you come through customs or
Hmm.
I mean it's go to the DMV sometimes, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like people are just they're just so rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then even if you try to be friendly with them, it's definitely usually not well
No, no,
received.
no.
It's so
Yeah.
weird how that
No,
is.
absolutely. And I got plenty of experience. I got friends and everything. But anyhow, I went there. They told me no. I applied. Every time you apply, it's like 120, $50 to apply for that. So I
Hmm.
applied. Long story short, I applied 5, 6 times.
5 times. So they
They did.
denied you 4 previous times for different
Yes.
reasons each time.
Yeah. No, it was the same.
Same reason every time.
The same reasons. This was the reason. They always give me a paper. They said that I didn't have enough evidence proving that I was going to return to Panama. They wanted me. You see, the thing is this: for that, because I was under a work visa, but then when I stopped working at Lindenwood, I switched to a student visa. So I never been in here. I never been here out of status. I always have my status. I always have because you have to keep your status just to stay here legally, right?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I said, well, I'm applying for a student visa. He's like, well, you've been in school so many years. I'm like, yeah, but I'm finishing my doctorate and I only got one more class. They were like, well, you haven't. I've been here. Back then, I was 14. He was 14. He was my year number 14 that I was here. They were like, no, there's no way we believe you that you're gonna return to Panama. I'm like, well, in my head, I'm like, well, you're right. But at the end of the day, I need to finish my doctorate.
Yeah.
They were like, you gotta give me the benefit of the doubt. And at the end of the day, they said you gotta you gotta bring proof that you're gonna return. I said, proof of what? After being there for 14 years, what do I mean to show you?
Yeah. What kind
Proof
of
of what?
proof? I mean,
they,
you
they, they, they didn't say anything, but that crazy thing was that I went back to my mom and dad's, and they were like, well, Jose, whatever we can prove, I mean, whatever you can do to let them know that you're gonna return, let's do it. So I created foundation in Panama. I created business in Panama. I enrolled myself in a university in Panama. My dad gave me like 2, 3 properties, used to lands, used to like, hey, you know what, this is yours. Those are the cool things that I was like, wow, I got some things that I never had before. Now
yeah,
I had
now you're
it
established in Panama.
in less than a month. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
My dad is like, yeah, yeah, I'm here for you. And I said, yeah, I appreciate you, man. And we went every time we see the crazy. This is a crazy thing. Like I was, I did that foundation in Panama called boxeo terapia, same thing as boxing therapy, but in Spanish. And I was working at this foundation for free every almost 3 days a week. Just giving back and creating and working with other people and kids with disabilities and everything. And I was, getting newspapers. I talked to the embassy. I mean, I talked to the first lady, secretary. I made an appointment to talk to the president. I mean, this was huge. I was all
Yeah.
over um, change.org, just getting, try to get help from anybody. I got the crazy thing. This is the crazy thing too is that I got a letter from the it was 5 senators from the United States,
Really?
Chicago. I mean, yeah, I got a senator from Illinois, from Florida, from Texas, Georgia, Missouri. All those letters, man. These letters, they were powerful letters telling them, give Jose Jones a chance to
Yeah.
complete his doctorate.
Yeah.
Has nothing. My history here is clean. I have nothing, nothing, nothing. Few parking tickets, that's all. But you know what I mean? Like they said, this is a great guy. This is a good guy. This guy is
Yeah.
helping the community. He got this type of program. Give him a shot.
So
And
do you still have all that? So are you still like just as established in Panama? Like the foundation is
yeah,
still going
hmm
and see, so that's amazing. Like so you have property down there, you set up a
yeah.
foundation, you did all this and how in
6 months, well, 6
6 months.
months, but everything was done. The foundation, everything was done in less than a month. But you're right. 6 months was all my, counting all my attempts of going there myself, and they denying me, and it was more like I remember I went, I wanted to go to the, but the crazy thing, Adam, that it was in. I got a bunch of papers. I got a bunch of folders with me, 3, 4, 45. The last day I went with like a little card with a bunch of books, and they were not even taking a look at those things. I had him. When, like I said, the guy was in front of me, and I said, "Well, these are my folders. You want me to show you the proof?" No, I don't. They never ever actually told me, "Let me see what you got."
Really?
Nothing, because of what it was set up in the computer. The computer, and that's what it is. They don't. But the crazy and the funny thing was like they were telling me this. That's what makes me mad all the time every time I was there, because they were telling me, you just gotta, not today, sir. Keep applying. Maybe you have a better luck next time. Just keep applying, keep bringing documents. Well, he was, some people were telling me that. Other people said, just read the letter. It will tell you what to do. And the letter was the same thing.
Hmm.
You don't have enough evidence that. But that's the thing. That's what makes me mad. Was more like, if you tell me right now, wait a year or wait 2 years or apply in 6 months, a week, I get it. I apply in 6 weeks. I apply in 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't tell me that. You just tell me like, oh, keep applying. Um,
It's
then
very uncertain,
Yes,
like
and
what you
and
need
that
to
was a
do.
huge problem for me, because if you don't tell me, I'm a, I'm a fighter in life. I have to. If you don't tell me something that I'm doing wrong, I'm just gonna. That's how human beings. That's how, and especially these type of circumstances. I got everything. I recently bought a townhome a month before this happens. I was, I remember that, I was applying for more custody time with my daughter. So we were going through that custody case too. So I was finishing my doctorate. I got everything. I got my little suitcase that I came from.
Your whole life is here.
Yeah, yeah, everything. So I'm saying I have to fight. I have to, every day I woke up in Panama. I was like, for me, it was like I woke up crying, or I woke up like I couldn't sleep. It was more like I waking up like this is a dream.
Yeah.
I'm like, God,
Like it didn't feel real.
let me pinch myself or something, or let me, talking to my daughter FaceTime. When are you gonna be here? I'm like, whew, I don't know
Yeah.
when I'm gonna be
She's
here.
8 years old at this time, so
Yeah,
it's like how do you explain that? You know what
yeah.
I mean?
How do you explain that? But thanks God, things got better. I received a call from an well, I call everybody. Like I said, all these senators and everything. They
Hmm.
told me, Jose, you need to try to find a way, try to make it to at least to the Miami, or try to get a visa, or at least like a permit, and apply for a humanitarian asylum. And that's where I am right now. I'm on a process of asylum. Hopefully, things get better, and I'm able to apply for my citizenship.
Okay. So what exactly is a humanitarian asylum? So
It's basically, you have to prove them that you are you are I mean, you are not like a burden to society. Like, you are good. You're doing great. You're doing the right thing. You don't have any. For
hmm.
example, my doctorate was one of the things that will help me out to, for them to be like, hey, you know what, this guy is somebody that we need.
Yeah.
And then there's different routes too. There's also another visa called O visa. Is the O visa is like for people, anybody that has like what do you call that, like extra, like knows, have like extra work, or do like how do you call that word? I forgot the word that they have. But anyhow, but like, has like a book, or have like a dissertation or something, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
And that's what my doctorate will put me in. Will put me under that, under that category.
If you're like an author or something, or like you're
Yes,
publishing something.
yeah, but there's a word for that. But I forgot. But yeah, but definitely that's some of the things that I'm definitely focusing on, so I can, yeah, definitely get able to. But I'm here. That's
Yeah, you made
at
it through,
the,
man, and
at the end of the day.
every interaction I've ever had with you, I mean, you're always overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's just evident by, like, I think just, you just get around you, feel your personality, and
yeah,
through your actions. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, like you said, you did all of that within a month of
Mhm.
being in Panama. But, like, let's bring it back here. So, I mean, you went through 7 months of trying to get back to the States.
Yeah.
Finally, on your fifth attempt to get, back in, you were able to.
Hmm.
And now that you're back, I feel like you've just it's like you almost didn't like lose a step. If anything, you've been going harder.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, like, just the boxing therapy and like all the positive you're doing with that, because I had the opportunity to come and
Yeah.
speak to
Thank
one
you,
of the
man. I
groups,
appreciate
and
it.
you're always just getting positive influences from the community,
Hmm.
and you're constantly throwing just like free events for the
Hmm.
community, and like you're just doing so much good
Hmm.
and through boxing, and then so let's just talk about that, and just your whole motto with
Yeah.
being the champion of life.
No, absolutely, man. You see, and that comes from all these years. I feel like you're right. I feel like for me that experience of that happened in Panama, what makes me realize I'm like I feel like I need to speed up a little bit more and put my foot on the gas a little more because I feel like there's so many opportunities that I even in Panama I wanted to do, but I didn't have a chance to. In Panama I applied in Panama for so many jobs, when I was there, one time I was like, I'm not giving up, but I need to, 6 7 months I gotta pay rent here. I gotta pay child support. I gotta pay all those many things here. And I
Yeah,
didn't, and
like
I
life doesn't
didn't,
stop here.
yeah, and I didn't have the money that back in my dad was like, well, I'm gonna take care of you, but at the end of the day, it's like I cannot come up with all these expenses that you have in the States. And all that experience, I say, I applied for so many jobs in Panama. Well, for like 3 jobs in Panama, they told me no. I asked friends to definitely help me out with jobs. Everybody was busy. I understand after 15 years. I mean, Jose's coming home.
Yeah,
It's hard.
that's a long
But
time.
all that, I took it very personally in a way that I said, you know what? I feel like here I have like a how do you call that, like everything in all the opportunities that I have there in front of my eyes, and I feel like I know that I've been using it, but I don't think that I've been, and I still don't think that I've been using it to the level that I can, I can exploit them to the level that I wanted to. So I said I took that very personal, and I started to, for example, that foundation that I had in Panama. I said, well, I had a business. The name of the business is called the Boxing Therapy. And I say, I know that me being a therapist, me working for Youth in Need, working for, Redner School District, I said, well, that was great. But I know that I was able to do more. And I said, well, let me just focus on my private practice, start getting clients, and start, working in the gym. Luckily, the manager Jimmy Howell from the boxing gym, he said, "Well, I need help in this gym. I need help managing the gym, with rent and everything." And I said, "Well, let me help you." He said, "Well, you take care. You can bring your clients. You can do whatever you want to do, but help me out with the gym too, with my kids." And that sounds perfect
Yeah.
because that's what I. But the main thing item was the boxing therapy. That was something that I created at Lindenwood. It was like designed to help people, motivate people, help people release some stress, anger, anxiety, you name it. I feel like, the way I've been definitely putting the time because, this is not something that I just came out of the blue like, okay, let me go ahead. No, I feel like all the years that, especially me and seeing the kids from Lindenwood and seeing everyday life, I feel like we all it's a fight. It's a fight for your dreams, a fight to get better. I do believe that we all get knockdowns in life. We all get pissed. We all get mad. We all get upset. We all get happy. I mean, and those are the things that I'm like, as long as you know that it's a knockdown, the main thing is like a real champ because I believe that you don't have to be that's my motto. My philosophy is like you don't have to be a champion. You don't have to be a boxer to be a champion. You don't have to be an MMA fighter to be a champion. You can be a champion in life. You could be your mama's champ. You know what I'm saying? You can be your teacher's champ, your neighborhood champ. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
But you are a champion. And if you wake up as a champion and fall asleep as a champion, man, the sky is the limit. And
Yeah.
I do feel like to be a champion, you got to do championship shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what champions do. Champions, they take care of business. They're responsible. They take, they behave as a champion in and out of the ring. They listen. You know what I'm saying? They do their chores. They do, that's what it is.
Yeah, 100%. And you embody that to the fullest. Like you embody your purpose and your message to the fullest.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, I broken record, but that's very evident. And yeah, dude, life. I mean, life's not easy.
Hmm.
And I like the phrase you use. You know, life is a fight. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like we're all gonna get knocked down. We're
Yeah.
all gonna face challenges. That's inevitable.
Hmm.
The whole idea that things are always good, you're always gonna be happy. You know, that's false. You know,
Yeah.
it's not true. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Whoever like gave you the idea that you're not gonna have to overcome things,
Yeah.
like that's just not true. So, I mean, um, yeah, no matter what happens, like we have the capability to take ownership and to turn it into a positive
Yeah.
situation. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
And I feel like it depends on the. It also depends, and it's in you. I mean, I feel like it's in all of us that we can turn anything, into something positive. I feel like for me that was I feel like we all have awakening experience, and that was my awakening experience. And I don't expect this to be the last. I
Yeah.
expect I expect to have many more, but I expect myself to make the decision to choose, because that's one of the things that we I don't care what we have or what we lose. We will always have something, and that's called a decision, the will. To pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To pick. Well, are we gonna feel bad? We're gonna feel good, or are we gonna go down? We're gonna go up.
Yeah.
So the decision is easy. That word, the decision to choose. What do you want to do?
Right.
You going down or you going up? So I decided to definitely go up, and yeah. And the boxing therapy is like it's great in a way that I like the fact that we can definitely life is boxing and MMA. I feel like the fight, just the definition of martial arts, is one of the closest things to life.
Yeah.
And I relate to boxing because that's what I do. But I do believe that there's a lot of things that, especially a lot of kids, that they like boxing. More than that, it's just like the factor that I definitely focus on and have been doing a lot of research on is on aggression.
Yeah.
And I've been studying a lot of theories of aggression and theories of motivation, and I feel like we all have that. It's a human nature instinct, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's what if you go to any schools right now, that's one of the main things that counselors or people they that's something that I deal with on a daily basis, like how can I cope with my anger, or how can I cope with my feelings. And I feel like it's a lot of kids that they are, especially in the area that I am in counseling, hurting themselves, cutting themselves because they don't
Mm.
know what to do.
Yeah.
You go to any psychiatry hospital. I would say more than 90% of the kids that are there because of behavioral issues, but mainly cutting, or
And
mainly,
hurting
yeah,
themselves.
suicidal thoughts, or
Yeah.
attempts. So I do feel like boxing, the exercise and the way I've been able to develop and create these type of programs are definitely helping.
Yeah.
I got some sessions in my gym, in my private practice, in my office, and I got kids sitting right in front of me, and they tell me, Jose, I don't like this. Can we go to the gym? And I say, okay, let's go to the gym. And I start bringing some of my clients to my gym. I have my sessions in my gym for quite some time now, and the kids, they feel more comfortable. Now it's a one-on-one thing. We sitting inside of the ring. The cool thing is, like, I have two stools. From a champ to a champ, sit
Yeah.
down in the stool,
Yeah.
and I look and I tell them, I want you to look around the ring. And this right here is life. Welcome to the ring of life, man. What we fighting for?
Yeah.
Well, I'm fighting because my mama told me that Fortnite, I cannot play Fortnite last night, and I'm grounded from Fortnite. I'm like, okay, brother, that's what it is. That's what you're fighting for, right? You
Yeah.
fighting, you mad because of that, and because of that, you start breaking walls and you start hurting yourself. Now you gotta, what I'm saying, you broke your hand, and you see, I don't want to tell. I want to. The main thing about me telling people is like, uh, you know, be getting angry, or getting upset. I mean, those are emotions. That's
Right.
that's natural. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be, you name it.
Yeah.
But it's not okay to, what I'm saying, to cut yourself,
Right.
or to start breaking walls and breaking your head. And you see, and that's what I'm trying to focus on more when it comes to the boxing therapy, is focusing on that behavior that comes after the emotion. And that's what I feel like I was trying to promote boxing, martial arts as a way for them to cope with something different. I ask some of the kids, I'm like, they love music, they love singing, they love playing games, and some of the crazy things about with these kids playing games is like it's crazy because more than them playing is always is also something about it's also something about they're in control. You see what I'm saying? They are in control of something on their life, or they feel like for that that long time or period that they could be playing, they feel safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They
like
feel
that's in
safe.
that moment they have
they
control.
they have
Yeah.
control of something, and that could be something that you know that could be something that I want parents can definitely learn from that and be like maybe something I might be doing something wrong, or maybe something I can change. But yeah, man, but I like I said, and that would be something that's something that I focus on, like I said, the behavior. But some of the main things that I'm also exploring now is also the population with kids with disabilities, adults with disabilities, adult with autism, Down syndrome, physical disabilities of Parkinson, MLS, you name it, because there's so many research out there that talks about boxing as a way for them to that help them with their social interaction, with their communications, with their anxiety, you name it. With their self-esteem. So, yeah, it's very interesting, man. Because, like I said, now it's the research out there that shows that it helps. Especially now. That's my next project. Try to get a hold of the Association for Parkinson here in Missouri and start bringing them to the gym, because
Oh.
my goal about besides this, Adam, I feel like it's more than the inclusion part, the diversity part. I would like any gym. You see, I love St. Charles MMA. They doing this is the type of gym that people can feel comfortable. You know,
Yeah, it's like
I,
you got a real big community. It's a good
yeah,
community.
yeah, absolutely. There's so many gyms out there that they definitely they are great. But I wanted them to have these type of programs. Programs that people, that families, they said, well, I have my kid with autism. He's very low functional, or I got my kid with cerebral palsy. Let me take him to this gym. But I
Hmm.
don't want only one. I want everybody. I want parents to feel comfortable. Hey, let's take him to San Charles MMA. Let's take it to Jose. Let's take it to Westport, Phoenix. I mean, whoever
Just
gym
a
out
whole
there.
network.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah, brother, man.
Club,
That's a
Club Fitness, Gold's Gym. I mean,
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, man, that's a hell of a goal to work towards, you know what I
Absolutely,
mean?
absolutely. But I feel like sky's the limit, and I know that you start with something,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you, man, because these type of programs right here, and these type of podcasts right here. I know that it get the message out there, because the message, I know, is huge, it's big, and a lot of people, they don't understand. They still sometimes I ask myself, what I do, Jose. You do so many things, because I'm on a daily basis doing things. Like I told you, I just came back from
Hmm.
Wentzville School District. They want me to, they are the first school that actually contact me about creating workshop for this alternative school, and I'm getting another call. The Department of Juvenile, the Justice Center. I have a little contract with them too. They bring in, some of those, some of their kids, or that they are assigned to them, to the gym. And you see, I have a little contract with Achievement Unlimited. Those are adults with disabilities. They come into the gym. My next goal is some Parkinson groups, and everything. And then I also have my adult classes. These are these are like regular people, man, like me and you, that they just like
Yeah.
they retire athletes. These are people that they just go to school. People that they just like, what? I feel like I'm happy.
Yeah.
I mean, a place that I learn how to box. I learn how to feel better, and then it's not like there's not a commitment of
Yeah.
when you're gonna fight.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, man, that's how empires are built, man. You just got to take action,
Yeah.
just doing one thing at a time, and then it just builds and it builds and it builds, and before you know it, you have your whole enterprise.
Absolutely, absolutely, hey, and don't get me wrong, man, I feel like your brand, man, that Will branch, I love it. I love it. I feel like it's a lot of things related. I look up to you. I look up to your brand, and I feel like this type of things is something that can definitely impact a lot of people. And I know that you're right. You start with you're gonna start slow,
You just
but
got to start though.
at the end of the day, it's about It's about putting the work and continuing, because a lot of
Right.
people, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people, they just get disengaged because they're like, oh, I don't see any results, or maybe I'm just tired. But this, what I'm doing right now with you, I'm you learning from me, I'm learning with you from you, and I feel that that's the key.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're connecting, we're having conversation, we're growing.
Hmm.
This is the key.
Yeah,
This is the key. I mean, like we got to have each other. And
absolutely.
yeah, dude, you're working hard at building that community, and it's
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
likewise, man. I might need to get me ahead of that.
Dude, I'm about to. I got a lot of things in the works with the Impose Will
Yeah,
brand, dude.
that's
So
right. That's
it's
right.
coming. It's coming. So, all right, brother. It's already been an hour. That flew
Oh,
by just like that. Yeah, it's been great.
thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
So, anything you want to plug? How can the folks get a hold of you? Ask questions. Say hello.
Oh well, they can definitely. They can plug me. They can plug with me, on Instagram, boxing therapy. That's the name of the Instagram. I also have the boxing therapy um, Facebook page,
Okay.
and right now I'm working on the website right now. But I'm like, like I said, those are the type of things, and that people can definitely connect with me. Facebook, Jose Jones. They can always look me up, and definitely I'm down. I'm here. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Good
No,
stuff,
no,
brother.
not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, and I'll put all your links in the show notes so anybody can get a hold of you.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right, brother.
Oh, now are we filming too?
We are filming too.
Oh.
All right, everybody. Till next time.